Hi Scorpio, I'm Ronique and welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to your May 2024 career tarot reading. This is where we're going to look at the astrological energies of the month of May, taking a look at your money, your career, your job, if you're trying to get out of debt, if you're trying to build wealth, if you are retiring. This is a really good time to look over the month to see how to plan your month, but also to look back. I always encourage people to go back on Scorpio Soul Time after you've passed through a month and see what energies actually did fruition for you. If you haven't already checked out the May 2024 general readings, I will leave a link below. Those are really helpful as well to give you a more well-rounded view of the energies that we are dealing with. Now, Scorpio, remember April was a huge month. We had eclipse season. Mercury was retrograde in the sign of Aries. We also had that huge conjunction between Uranus and Jupiter. We will actually have more of those conjunctions here in the month of May between the Sun and Uranus on the 13th and the Sun and Jupiter on the 18th. So do take a look at those May readings. I think they will help you and offer some real advice. So let's get into it, Scorpio. You start off the first week with the Five of Wands in the reverse. The second week, the Five of Swords. My goodness, Scorpio, what's going on that first week? Second week of May, you have the Two of Cups in the reverse, as well as the Five of Cups in the upright. Third week, you have the Judgment card, Major Arcana card here in the reverse, as well as the Nine of Cups. And the last week of May finds you with the World card, another Major Arcana in the reverse, and the Ace of Pentacles. Boy, am I happy to see that Ace of Pentacles by the end of the month, Scorpio, because you start off a little rocky there, but it looks like you're ending with some possibly really good news. So hopefully all of this roughness in the beginning of the month will subside by the time you end May. All right, Scorpio. I have this little chuckle because, you know, I'm a Scorpio. So anytime I see like the roughness in there, I'm like, oh gosh, what's that mean? All right, you all, let's go ahead and pull a card that's going to represent April. Spirit, if you can send, there you go, Scorpio, a card that represents the month of April, and you have the Devil card. So Capricorn energy here. For many of you all Scorpios, this could have been a month in April where you had a lot of goal setting, a lot of trying to get to the heart of a matter in the physical world, dealing with your goals, dealing with your job. For some of you, you all were trying to reach certain goals that possibly you were too in your head about, or possibly there was powers beyond your control, meaning like maybe Saturn type led conversations with your organization, or you were feeling like you didn't have complete control over things that you wanted. I do think that this is always a challenge. Capricorn energy can often bring this kind of defeatist mentality where you're feeling like you're not reaching your goals. So if that is something that plagued you during the month of April, do know that that mindset is still here as you come into the month of May. And if it's something that actually helped you, then that will be good. But if it hurt you or it was in a negative way, consider like what it is that you need to do to move through that energy in the month of May. Okay. All right, Spirit, if you can send us a oracle message. Oof, your cards are just flying out. And you have two cards. You have the snake. I will tell you the snake is your one of your spirit animals, or what represents Scorpio. And you have Shalim Master. Be graceful in movement and action. So very interesting, because you know snakes do move in this way that is like very calculated and usually stealth and underneath of the radar. There is this thing where it says shed your old skin. This is transformative energy, and that really is you. And you know what? I'm literally looking down at the Scorpio card over here, and I don't know if you can see it, but there is, oh my God, there's actually three cards. goodness gracious, I didn't even see that third card. High Priest, intend and create. So 3 cards, lots of messages there, Scorpio. I'm actually going to focus though on this. This snake and this snake, I think, is so interesting that they both have so much meaning around transformation, Scorpio. So I do think at your job, your career this month is going to be huge around who is it that you need to move away from? You need to transcend from your previous self, not worrying about the people around you, Scorpio. I do think that this is going to be a challenge for many of you all, because I hear people pleaser coming in my head. So many of you all are trying to please other people. Spirit is reminding you, shed your old skin and don't worry about the person that you used to be. You are now transforming into another person. And so I do think that that's really important. And I do think these other cards that fell out, like the intend and create, as well as be graceful in movement and action, Spirit is actually asking you to move through this energy with grace. Don't feel like you have to rush, but make sure it's intended purpose, right? Make sure that when you're going into whatever you are doing, your intentions are good. They're not coming from a negative place. And you're also being graceful in your movements and not rushing, okay? And I do think that that's really big for you, Scorpio, because I always think the challenge with Scorpios is sometimes they're very misunderstood in terms of what it is they're intending. And so I do think as we move through this month, really pay attention to the people you come in contact with. I can already see that first week of of May is very charged, and it could be energy from Mars moving into Aries on April 30th. I do think that this energy carries through the month, and there's some kind of breakup possibly this second week. If you are someone who is in business with someone, if this is a conversation that possibly you're having with your spouse about your job or career, there could be some disappointment here. But Spirit is reminding you that once you get to this 3rd and 4th week of May, some new energy recharges you. And by the end of the month, I do see some great endings and some money news coming in. So let's take it week by week. You all have a very straight, even though you have a lot of cards, you have a very straightforward message here. And that message is, make sure you're focusing on you. Make sure that the people around you are not bullying you or getting you to go in a direction that you don't want to, especially with that Mars in Aries. Like I said, Pluto retrogrades on May 2nd. Taurus New Moon on the 7th. That Taurus New Moon could be a great way for you to strategize on how you would like your money, career, cash flow to go, because it does feel like some of you all are hanging on to old stuff, and Spirit is like, do not worry about the past. It's time to move forward. And especially with this 2 of Cups and 5 of Cups, stop worrying about other people. Stop worrying about whether or not they are feeling good. Make sure you're feeling good first. That's what I'm hearing. Like, stop worrying about people pleasing and make sure you're not just focusing on the negative and you're focusing on the positive. Okay. So if this is a conversation with your spouse or a group of people, many of your cards in the first few weeks have a lot of people in them. So that's showing me colleagues, possibly family members. Somewhere in here, lots of people are in the mix, and you're going to have to get to a point where you're focusing more on yourself, okay? By the time we get to that 3rd week of May, remember I said about that Sun conjuncting Uranus on the 13th. Mercury finally leaves its retrograde shadow on the 13th. Mercury enters Taurus on the 15th, and then we have a Mercury or a Sun conjunct Jupiter on the 18th. Lots of energy here around what wishes, what dreams do you have, not letting go of them just because a judgment or something needs to be made, okay? I do think for many of you all Scorpios, this month is going to be very trying because you're moving out of this energy of like all of that Aries, Mars energy that we had back in April, and now you're like kind of getting grounded. And I think many of you will see some positive movement throughout the rest of the month, but you're going to have to get your mind out of this energy of worrying about everyone else. And by the time you end the month, really positive energy when the sun enters Gemini on the 20th. We have a Sagittarius full moon on the 23rd. And by the time we end the month, we have Mercury conjunct Uranus and Taurus on the 31st. Expect some type of benefic news by the end of the month, Scorpio. I do think that you're coming out of that negative, worrying about everyone else energy, coming into your own and like trying to tie loose ends up. And by the time you end the month, I do think that some benefic money news could find you. So overall, Scorpio, I think it's a month of getting out of your own way, getting out of the obsession of having to please others, and getting out of the drama, if you will, at work, and getting into your own head and realizing if you can come through all of that, shed your old skin like that snake, I do think that you're going to have a very positive June. So lots going on, Scorpio. Make sure you take a look at those May generals, and I'll talk to you later.